Hey, what's going on everyone? This is G and I'm funkin' hungry. In this video, we're gonna try KFC Hot Rods. Yeah, that's right, Hot Rods are back, but only in South Australia. And also I want to give a huge shout out to someone. They wanted to stay anonymous, but basically they helped me fund this video. They know who they are, and I really appreciate it. Cheers. But they wanted me to review the Hot Rods, but they wanted me to review the Hot Rods box. But basically you can get a burger of your choice. You have to pay extra depending on what burger you get. Then you get 2 Hot Rods, you get 2 sides. So normally they give you chips and then they normally give you potato and gravy. You can change those sides in the app, or even if you go in person, you know, you can ask them to change the chips to, you know, potato and gravy, or change the potato and gravy to chips even. You know, maybe swap them around, you know, maybe change the chips to a different side like potato and gravy, maybe change the potato and gravy to chips. Wouldn't that be silly? Anyway, also you get a drink. So here it is. Let's take a look. Hopefully they got it right. 1 drink. You can smell that goodness. So before we get into it, we may as well wet the whistle. Got the Solo. You gotta love how KFC has Solo there. 5% crushed lemons. Cheers. It's a little bit warm out there today, and this food is actually piping hot, but gotta give them credit for that. Now we'll go through the meal, but obviously the Hot Rods are the main star of the show. I did order extra salt. I think that's the move at Macca's, Jackers and Clackers, because yeah, it just gives them some flavour. Cheers. A little bit floppy. A little bit limp, but they do have that lovely chicken salt flavour that KFC has, which I really like. You know, they have a really good chicken salt, even though the fries are a little bit soggy and limp. Doesn't want to fall off. It's hanging on for dear life. Look at it. Look at that. Oh, there you go. But yeah, even though they're a little bit soggy, I still like KFC chips when they're a bit soggy, because like I like the chicken salt. I'll take a look at the potato and gravy. I won't linger here too much. It does look like a good batch though. Sometimes it looks a little bit like a grey alligator. This does have a nice brown colour. I'll give it a bit of a dip and a taste and we'll move on. Let's see. It's not as hot as normal, funny enough. Sometimes this stuff is like lava when you get it. I mean, it's not too bad. It does taste like it's not as flavoursome as sometimes. A little bit watery, perhaps. But, you know, you can't go wrong with a little dip. Speaking of dip, they didn't give me my bloody dip. You get to choose your dip, and I just went with what they suggest. Of course, they had to forget something. I mean, they've done a pretty good job, so, you know, props to the KFC I got it from. Everything's hot so far. Everything tastes good. And also I just noticed they didn't give me any like serviettes or refresher towels or whatever they call them. I mean, it's not a huge deal when you're eating at home. I can just go and have a shower after to wash all the grease off. Just a couple of little things that KFC could have worked on, you know, like sauce and towelettes. Anyway, let's get into them. The Hot Rods. They do look a little bit small as well. I remember them being like, you know, like almost that was one. Maybe I'm exaggerating a bit, but I do remember them being definitely bigger than this. But anyway, I guess it's all in the taste, right? And the price. Let's give it a go. KFC Hot Rods. Cheers. I mean, it is nice. It is quite moist. I think they probably used like thigh meat in this. It is pretty moist. There is a lot of there is a lot of flavour and spice in this. I think because it's a smaller piece of chicken, there's quite a lot of marinade on this. It does have that sort of zinger, sort of paprika, cayenne maybe, sort of pepper flavour that a zinger would have. That sort of flavour, a little bit spicy, a little bit peppery. If you can't handle spice, I know some of you out there can't, this probably isn't for you, because it does have a little bit of a spice kick. But I love this. Like, you know, to me it's a little bit mild, but to some of you this is probably hot. But if you do want to sort of try it, you know, make sure you've got a drink at hand and give it a go. Test your taste buds. test your heat tolerance. It does sort of linger in your mouth as well. It does have a, you know, a bit of a lingering effect, which I like though. It's not too hot, it's not over the top for me. You know, it's just enough, like a little bit of a spice to enjoy the meal and just to bring out, you know, a little bit of flavour. This is basically sort of like a zinger. This is sort of like a zinger or a Wicked Wing sort of flavour spice. It is nothing special in the realm of KFC, but I feel like this should be on the menu full time. You know, it's like a nice little addition, a nice little side. I know they have like tenders and nuggets, which I don't mind the tenders. The nuggets are a little bit average, you know, I just find they're not that appealing or not that, you know, adventurous or crazy. But I know they're there, you know, for the kiddies or you old people that like your mushy nuggets. Then it does have a little bit more marinade in the centre, like, it's like they probably put these on their skewers and then put the marinade on the chicken and then they put the coating on. So there is quite a lot of marinade or spice in there compared to a zinger patty. So yeah, I'll have a couple more bites, then I'll move on. You can see the chicken is sort of like the dark chicken meat. It is sort of like a little bit white, but then it leads into that sort of browny, dark sort of colour. You know, that's parts of the birds that normally are more moist or whatever. But yeah, that's definitely a nice bit of chicken. It definitely has a nice heat. It lingers. I'm enjoying that. I'll give the hot rods a rating by themselves because that's what we're here for. But then I'll give the hot rod box an overall rating and I'll let you know what the price is. My score for KFC hot rods, I'm going to give them an 8.8 out of 10. I feel like they're a really good item. If I bought this for myself, again, I'd probably get the 6-pack because, you know, it's quite nice and it's just nice to have these by themselves, the hot rods. You know, the chips are okay and the rest of the food, but, you know, if I want hot rods, I just go and get the hot rods, really. But also, that being said, it is nice to have this in a meal. As I said, it's a nice side option. But I was going to review KFC a while ago because they have original crispy burgers. So it's like their original fillet burgers, but they're meant to be crispy. So what I did, got the original crispy, but this is the barbecue bacon stacker. It's under $2 if you get like a burger that's just a single with bacon and cheese. And this was $4 extra to add this to your meal. So I thought I may as well review this original crispy burger and let everyone know what it's like. Man, that looks pretty small for a stacker. The buns are not too bad today. They do go a little bit hard and stale. I think it's because they steam the buns. So when you steam them, you know, if you don't get to them too quickly, that steam, the moisture just sort of hardens and it goes a bit, look, it's like a little bit stale. Yeah, dry, stale. I always find that with the KFC burgers, they're a bit dry. What I'll do, I wanted to, look at the bacon. The bacon, that's the bacon you get at KFC. And obviously this comes with barbecue sauce, mayo, lettuce, cheese, chicken, bacon. This crispy fillet is what's intrigued me. To be honest, it just kind of looks like, you know, any chicken that I've had from KFC. But we'll give it a try. Yeah, there's probably a little bit more of a texture like a Wicked Wing. Like a little bit more crumbly, a little bit more crispy, I guess, hence the name. So I saw some people complaining online that they didn't like this type of chicken, but to be honest, I'm not really tasting the difference. Yeah, I probably can't taste the original recipe flavour as much here. I don't know, maybe it's the texture of the chicken, the crispy nature, like being cooked. The crispiness is sort of going to be cooked a little bit more than just how the chicken is normally, how it's sort of just flat. How the breading is normally just flat on the KFC. But I'll try this. Yeah, it is a little bit more crispy for sure. To me it's probably better because, you know, there's a little bit more crunch and texture to it. The barbecue sauce is nice, smoky, a little bit spicy. Overall, it's not too bad, besides that bun lets it down hugely, but All the ingredients inside is nice. The bacon tastes good. Barbecue sauce I quite like. It's nice, sticky, spicy, smoky. It's actually a really nice flavour. The bun's not too bad when you have it all together, but it's definitely flavourless and stale when you have it by itself. If the buns were better, this would be a solid burger. The buns definitely let it down. So my rating for Hot Rod large box, I'm going to give that an 8.2 out of 10. I feel like it was pretty good. You know, overall, there can be a bit of hit and miss, you know, when it comes to the chips and stuff like that. Overall, I think like it's a pretty good box. The Hot Rodders definitely taste lovely. You know, the burger was definitely good besides the buns. Don't know what they're doing with those buns. They're always dry. So I guess unless you eat it like fresh, you know, like if you're sitting in the restaurant and they hand it to you, like it'll probably be all right then. Yeah, overall I'm really impressed. The Hot Rods are definitely tasty. They do feel like they've shrank a little bit. I guess that's like everything these days, shrinkflation and all that. But yeah, if you're in South Australia, go out there and try the Hot Rods. Price for the Hot Rod box for the regular, so that's with just a can of drink and a small chips, that's $16.45. The large is creeping up in prices, about $2-3 extra, is $18.95. That's with a large chips and a large drink. So, you know, you're paying quite a lot, really, for, like, just a bit more drink and a bit more chips. So if you're not that hungry and not that thirsty, not funkin' hungry or thirsty, just get the regular, really. I paid the extra $4 for the stacker. Taking the bun into consideration, I'm not really sure if it's worth it. But obviously I'm paying for the extra meat, the bacon, and the cheese. So I feel like it's an okay price because, you know, you normally the extra meat's a couple of dollars. Normally they charge like $1 for cheese and $1 for bacon or whatever. So it probably works out about the same price, really. But I'll give that a price rating of 6.5 out of 10. I'm not gonna, you know, jump up and down about that price, like, but it is about $20. It is about $20 for a meal these days from this place, and you do get the couple of Hot Rods with your burger, original crispy chicken, which, as I said, isn't too bad. Like, it seems to give it a bit more texture. It might sort of lack in flavour a little bit more compared to the original fillet normally. And the zinger. Let me know if you've tried Hot Rods if you're in South Australia. For all those people that are in other parts of the world or other parts of Australia or even Tasmania, you know, unfortunately you don't get to have these. You have to be in South Australia. If you've had them before or you've had them recently because they've been out about a week here now, let me know if you agree or disagree with what I've said. I'd love to hear it. But I hope you enjoyed this video. This is G from Funkin' Hungry, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.